All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever state, whatever city, whatever country that you are listening to me from. My name is Shofu Babalola Theophilos, SB for short. And right now, you know what time is it right now? This is the Pest Experience Show. And what exactly do we do with pest control? Well, I would introduce you to that particular thing that we do here in a couple of minutes. But let's just quickly go straight down to an amazing intro.
This is the best experience show.
Right, all right. You know exactly what time is it right now. This is the Pest Experience Show. And exactly what do we do here on the Pest Experience Show? It's nothing but what we talk about pest and pest control. It is the place where pest control experts meet, connect, and gist and share their own experiences. It's still that same place where homeowners, facility managers, and clients that really want to understand what exactly is involved in the pest control and how to deal with pests in any of our apartments. This is the product view, product explanation, regulatory views, and all in terms of pest and pest control. This is the segment, this is the episode, this is the platform, this is the place where we discuss, talk about it, and just about it. This is where we open our heart, as Special Operators, to talk about every single thing that has to do with the pest and the pest control industry. All right, welcome back again to another wonderful episode. Last week was a fantastic one. We had giveaways, additions to amazing guys that won the gift from the D Fortune Pest Solutions, and also in collaboration with the Alcochem IG Nigeria. That's the person of Rotimax Training Academy. Thank you very much for sponsoring the show last week. The winners are saying thank you because they received their gift. And also, with two people went home with 5 bait stations each. It means that they are going on with over like almost like 100K or so, and that's fantastic. I sincerely appreciate that. And we also have one person win an insect catcher, and the other person win the flocomafine, then also a cockroach bait. That's from the stable of the Alcokem IG in Nigeria. That's a fantastic one. Thank you very much again. It's been a wonderful time here. And right now, today we are looking at a critical topic. I mean, it's like an amazing topic, yes. And for every pest control operator, this is the topic, this is the discussion that they want to actually hear their voice. This is a point where they want to talk about, open up their mindset, open up their self, and talk about every single thing they've experienced. In fact, this topic today is like the pest experience exactly. So what I want you to do is that I'm going to be calling out the phone lines. It's going to be an interactive session. Every time I don't have a guest like this, it's going to be an interactive session on the show. And the phone lines are very much open. The chat box is open. The Insight Radio chat box is also open for you to sign in with your name and let's know where you are listening to us from, what part of the country, what's the name of your brand, where are you located, where are you listening from. Let us know. Let's start from there. I'll also be giving you a quick shout out if you're a pest control operators. Congratulations, you have a free advert here. Just for listening to the show tonight, and it's a wonderful time again. Right. So, quick one. The topic that we're going to be discussing about today is a critical aspects, as I said, like I said, there's what we call critical overview. The overview of pest control. Overview of pest control. When this topic came to my head that let's talk about it today, there's a critical aspect which we need to view from, is that I had an experience in the this week rather, where I had to visit someone, and I told him, person asked me, what exactly do you do? And I told the person, I'm a pest control operator. And I was like, you said what? Eh? How does he? Nigerians now were just with I said, okay, fumigation, and he said, oh yeah, fumigation. Oh, that's nice. I mean, most people don't even know the difference between pest control and fumigation. Most people don't know the difference between the fact that some people are pest control operators, some people are exterminators, right? People don't know the difference, and these are the things we're going to talk about today. That's number one. And then also, how do we change the perspective of people that this profession is not just a profession? It's just like a lawyer. You don't know until you need them. You ignore us until you need us. When you need us the most is when the investigation level has gone high. At that point, our prices would increase very much high because you don't understand the value of what they call proactive pest management rather than being reactive. This conversation tonight is not just about the pest control operator aspect, but also educating the homeowners in terms of proactive step of what they need to do and encouraging homeowners or facility managers or even organizations that they need to take proactive step rather than rather than taking reactive step to getting rid of any pest in their apartment. You know, so these things are very much important to actually critically look at and then talk about them, and how the regulatory bodies, how are they taking these things? How are they explaining these things? How are they enforcing the rules, the regulations? How are they putting them into place? Right. So these are the things I'm going to be making my own recommendations, as a pest control operator, and I'm going to be making my own recommendations as a media person also. I really hope that this gets to the right quarters, like the Pest Control Association of Nigeria, and then other environmental protection agency, and so many other associations like that. I really hope they get to know and get to see this information and utilize them, because utilizing every information is critical, is very much important than even um, talking about. It's just like a man that is dreaming of ideas, that is not just taking a step. All right. So we need to take in a step and look at all these things critically, analyze them critically, and sit down and look at it. How do we develop the industry? These are questions that we need to answer, and I'm also going to be really diverting into the aspect of, the women in the pest control industry. Exactly. Other countries, we have women all over the world, participating in the pest control industry, and they are being celebrated. They are being celebrated. So this night again, if there is any woman or any amazing person, that is striving, making things together to ensure that he represents this industry in a perfect way, I really, really celebrate. I really want to celebrate you tonight. It's a wonderful time for me to celebrate you, celebrate the wonderful things that you do out there. So, like I said, it's a profession for us right here. Let us know where you're listening from. Let us know what part of the world, the name, you, where you're listening from, what part of the world you're listening from. Let us know your name and the name of organization. You can use the chat box, just to make sure that you are currently listening and also participating in the show tonight. All right, so let's just quickly run down straight down into a quick short break, and we'll be back right now.
This is the Pest Experience Show.
All right, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I said something that is very much important, that we look into how people perceive the pest control industry. Like I said, it's going to be an interactive session, and I'm going to be raising the phone lines for pest control operators, homeowners who want to share their own experience. But I'm going to be sharing my own also, like what I've said earlier on. But I have a couple of other experiences where people just, they undermine exactly things that we do, but not knowing that we are the solutions that they need. For every pest controller out there, you guys are wonderful. You guys are doing a lot of work to make sure that people's lives are saved. There is also this aspect, every organization. I mean, I've seen a couple of NGOs who are thinking they want, who are working towards, getting rid of malaria, but they forget something. And this is one reason why I so much love the Pest Control Association of Nigeria. There is one thing they take to heart, and that's the fact that they are after the killer, and the killer is mosquito. If you don't deal with mosquito, then why exactly are you shouting of working, looking forward to getting rid of malaria? You need to also stop the killer before you have to fight the killer before you stop malaria, right? That's the voice, and that's the sound that is coming from the Pest Control Association of Nigeria, which makes a lot of sense, which is so fantastic. That's amazing. So for every pest control operator out there, you guys are doing wonderful work to ensure that people lives are saved. And for every pest control companies that represent us, represents the industry globally, you guys are fantastic. I mean, there's a particular organization in Nigeria. I mean, even on their comment section, people would say, you guys should actually open Netflix, because the way you guys package your business, package the industry, it interests people to come into the industry. And I'm going to be starting the show, or starting the topics, or starting my own discussion with that. The way people perceive any person or any organization, it depends on how you carry this organization, right? How do you place this organization? How do you do it? What are the things that you do? What do you put in play? It's very much important. How do you put yourself out there? Your videos, how does it you don't know everything you post. It's not just to post and make sure that you're posting every day, or posting on your social media account every day. Ensure, or make sure that your content, your posts are representing your brand, and not just that every information you put out there is for your brand alone. That's another warning. Not just that every information you put there is for your brand alone. The information you put out there is not just for you alone. It represents the whole pest control association, the whole pest control operators in the country, or the state, or the city that you belong, or the state that you're listening to me from. So these things needs to be addressed, looked into. Number one, the content you pull out there. The context of your content is very much important, right? So, in fact, how do you put up your brand is very much important. There was a research that was carried out by the Pest Control Management Alliance. There was a research where they had to categorize what pest exactly um, would pest professionals are being called to attend to, right? So they have different categories. Number one is the bed bug. In fact, bed bugs and termites is like the highest of all pests that people would even want to call a pest control operators for, because they believe that these things are actually there. If I'm mosquito, people just say mosquito is actually like a general something, Jerry. I don't want to, I just let it just, they just get DIY product. They get DIY products to be able to solve this particular pest, which is the mosquito. They get DIYs. But for pests like bed bugs, in fact, when you're using DIY, it's like complicating the issue, because they get response a lot. And another aspect is like termites. Something like termites, there's no DIY. There's no DIY. You can't say you want to spray your room with insecticide. No, no. You must get a professional. In fact, it's like a necessity. You have to get a professional to deal with that. So the phone lines to call in if you have a wonderful experience, or you want to talk about one aspect basically of where you are currently, being passed different manner. The phone lines to call in is 09169671279. 09169671279. That's the phone lines to call in directly into the show if you have one or two experiences that you want to share. How people perceive the pest control operators. How you personally, I think we need to personalize this, because when I analyze this, it makes it much more effective, because that's really you more than that. Or the means people see you, we need to actually learn how people see the pest control operators out there. Like I said, it depends on the content. Number one, the content you pull out there is very much important, that you re-strategize your content. that you pull out there, because it represents you, and not just only you, the pest control associations or the pest control operators in your own country or pest control operators globally, right? All right. So another aspect is the fact that um, the way you brand, and branding is not just the clothing that you wear alone, but your vehicles. Ensure that your vehicles are actually also branded. It gives a lot of potential view to your own organization, right? So it's important to learn to know the balance of effective pest control management, right? By putting a proper branding in your own organization. Okay, so that's just the two major aspects that we need to view before we go straight down now into a short break, and we will be right back again. So the phone line calling on the show is 09167 1279 16967 1279. I will be right back.
This is the Pest Experience Show.
All right, welcome back again. Welcome back. Welcome back. I talked about the branding and the content. That's very much important. So now back to the aspect where you've actually built up the branding, done your own content that fits people. Another aspect again that needs to be utilized or needs to looked into is the fact of communication. When I started the show, I talked about how you communicate to the clients is very much important. Like I said, I gave an example of where people would not want to call pest control operators until the infestation level is very much like very high. So at that point, what do you recommend? They will start asking you, what do you recommend? What are the methods I need to use to stop the pest? How do I do this? How do I do that? Like I said, at that point, the pricing is like very much high and proactive. So now this is now another advantage to pest control operator, that the content of what they're putting out in their social media account or in their branding and all those kind of things needs to emphasize on reactive pest control. What they call reactive pest control, ensure that people are being reactive in dealing with different pests in their apartment, not just being proactive. It's very much important. So when they are reactive, it ensures that the solutions are much more effectively done. In fact, it makes the work of control operators much more easier. When people are reactive, the infection level is at the minimal stage before they even call the pest control operator. Right? So these are the things that we need to put into play. And when they see your brand as a reactive, when you become a reactive pest control brand, you get what I mean by you being a reactive control stuff is to ensure that the content you're putting out there is a content or content that people would want to read, and like tips, strategies, techniques of how they can prevent, how they can stop this, how they can do this. Maybe just sanitation tips, right? And that point, any person or anybody that would go through your platform, your emails, go through your content, would see you as a resource center. Okay, so when they see you as a resource center, you become the major source of favorable information. At that point, you are now legalized. You now have the license to be called a professional. Let me repeat that again, because that point is very, very much important. And the point is this: before or when you are putting out content on your social media accounts or your platform or your emails that you're sending out to your clients, because these are ways that you can change the perspective of people about the industry, about your company, about the organizations that you are working in. I gave my experience when I started the show about how I was, I was at the, I was talking to the bank manager rather. So I told him, he was asking me, what exactly did I do? I said, I'm a pest control operator. I was like, pest control operator, eh? They literally don't even carry this word. So I had to tell her, fumigation. Okay, fumigation. That's what you will say now. So these are the experiences that we have, no, or that so many pest control operators have. So, but when you start to pull out informations, you go out there with your branding shirt, and you're like, is it the same information that I know? That you guys so well branded like this, so well, so good like this, and you are emphasizing your content. You know, I'm a broadcaster today because I love pest control, because I want to talk about pest control. You see how these things correlate. You also can be a resource center at your own comfortable end, starting from your customers, starting from your clients, to be able to pass short information, short tips, techniques, strategies. How can you prevent this? How can you get rid of this? How can you do this? These are techniques that your customers, and they see you as a resource center. Now, when they see you as a resource center, the next thing is, how do you communicate with this client? Because from the research that I said that the Pest Management Alliance carried out is 2017 or so, because there's a publication from the PCT magazine, where they said that people would only patronize a pest control operator because of one thing: trust. They have the trust that they believe that these people or this company would come and solve the problem. They would come to any pest control operator because of trust, because of your integrity. And how do you now show your own integrity? How do you show that you are so much filled with the potentials to be able to solve that for them? It goes back to, how do you put yourself out there? I started the show with how people perceive you. If you're just joining onto the show, what I'm talking about, or the topic we are discussing today, is how do people, the overall view of pest control, the overall view, how do people perceive the pest control industry? How do they perceive you as a pest control operator? If you're a pest control operator, this question is for you. Do you have an experience about how people perceive you? Or somebody have walked up to you and just tell you, Michelle, what kind of work is this? Something like that. You know, what do you do? How are you doing it? You say you're doing pest control operator, and you're a pest control operator. Is it not the people that spray chemical everywhere? Something like that. If you have that experience, let us know. Share it to the world. This is where let's talk as professionals. Let's gist. Share me your experience. Lines to call in on the show is 091 091 6967 1279. If you're watching directly from YouTube, please, you can drop in your comments. Let us know where you are listening from. Let us know what part of the world. What's your name? Where are you listening from? What do you do? Share your experience. Use a chat box and be able to read them live on the show tonight. The chat box is open and the phone lines is open. Right? Can't hear you anymore. Just a minute.
This is the Pest Experience Show.
Right? So this is also very much important about how people perceive the organization. It's very, very, very important, right? What are the legal aspects? What exactly are the regulatory bodies putting into play in this organization? Right? So sorry for the glitch, but I hope for me to even know that for 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 me to get that comment from the people, I want to believe that everybody that are listening to me right now are following. All right, Mr. Olushola Mabinu Uri, thank you very much for that. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. I apologize. Right, thank you very much for that. So, like I said, the regulatory bodies are the major center. All right, how are the regulatory bodies taking these pest control operators out there? How are they promoting pest operators? How are they promoting the pest control industry across different states, across different cities, across different countries, depending on where you are actually listening to me from, right? How do they pull out these people? How do they pull out us to the people? I gave an example of the Pest Control Association of Nigeria, taking a very, very bold step in sensitizing the people in terms of mosquito. And I believe so many organizations like that associations, right? So these are steps, these are techniques that the pest control associations across the world needs to put into consideration, put into play to be able to sensitize the people. Because it's not just a man's work. It's a collaborative work that win. And I'm also using this opportunity to also plead. When I say plead, or um, to request to request that other organizations like environmental protection agencies across not just a particular state, not just a particular city, other environmental protection agency, best to my knowledge, we have, in Nigeria, for example, where we are currently now, we have different environmental protection agency across different states. So we have the Oyo, we have Ogun State, we have Lagos State. Not just a state. Let this be that every state participate in collaborations with the pest control associations across the world to ensure that informations, because if, for example, the way the Lagos state is emphasizing on the pest control, or your state is doing the same, Ogun State is doing the same, Abuja is doing the same, many other states like that is doing the same. Come on, come on. I mean, you would know that pest control will change. It will change, and if we come up with trainings like this, if we come up with trainings like this, like what we do, because everybody everywhere is listening. Somebody would come onto the program, and if not just people that are interested in the pest control, but even recipients, people that stay at home, people that own apartments, homeowners, facility managers also listen to the shows.
So these are programs that needs to be set aside, set into play, be reconsidered, and put into consideration about how can we sensitize the people, because we can't just change their mindset about this industry. Honestly speaking, not just like that. It's not going to happen all of a sudden. It's not going to happen just now. It's a collaborative work of the regulatory body, the pest control associations, and the pest control operators themselves. And I will use this opportunity to also urge pest control operators across different states, across different cities, across different countries, wherever you hear conference, you hear trainings, whatever you hear, what do you call these things? Webinars. Attend, be part of it. Be part of it. The symposium is coming up very soon. This year and this month rather, for Nigerians, pest control operators in Nigeria. Symposium is coming up this year. I mean this month, for the World Mosquito Day in Abuja. Be part of it. If you're not going to be there physically, I understand things are on the high now. Go online, watch, represent. Because these are the ways that we change perspective of people. Right? Because I believe that a collaborative knowledge shared is another opportunity, to a stepping stone to a productive or to a perfect and informative industry. Collaborative knowledge shared is this. Take for instance, the little that I know is what I'm sharing now. And the people that are listening are also going to these ideas or implement these things in their businesses, of the contents they pull out there, in terms of the strategies they pull out there. They would also want to put it, the way you pull your brand is the way people would go. I mean, there are brands, brands out there, they are pest control operators. I gave an example of a particular organization. I don't want to give a free advert. I give a particular example of a particular organization that even their people that will just even just scroll to their page will tell them to open a Netflix account because of the type of the content, how the type of content they pull out there, the branding they've put into their own stuff, right? So these are the things that we need to also put into consideration. Okay, so when we put into consideration, we'll be able to and restore a pest control industry much more beneficial to us, to you, and to also the right. So these are the things that we also need to put into play. So like I said, the phone lines to call in on the show is 0. Okay, so I have a comment from the chat box. Dr. Latunji says lack of adequate I think this is training. Lack of adequate training. That's another challenge. These are the things that we need to also look into. You see, there's also a comment. It said due to lack of proper communication with the clients on nonsense and peculiar infestation routes that causes the job may not be appreciated. Okay, I think I get this point, because when you don't communicate, in fact, thank you very much, Dr. Latunji. Thank you very much. I love this. I'm going to read the second one. She said, also, lack of adequate training on integrated pest management makes the expected results not achieved. So advocates training and retraining. Oh, Lord. Thank you very much, Dr. Latunji. Exactly my point. I don't know why this topic for today is like emotional. Like I'm feeling it in my body. It's so emotional for me, because these are the things that we need to look into critically. Proper education. When I talked about it, like attend webinars, pest control operators attend webinars, attend trainings. In fact, we at Inside Radio, we drop out webinars every week. We go all over the channels, different platforms. Platforms that they've even paid for adverts from. We bring it to our one platform for free. Let us just share this information. Let's share the webinars to the people. Because this trend, if I'm trying as much as possible, investing so much, because setting up the radio. In fact, the idea of the inside radio started from the pest control. So we have other shows that we talk about environment, we talk about pest Prenos Plug, which is the entrepreneurship show. We talk about entertainment and all so many other stuff like that. But we started from the pest control aspect. And if you are trying to build up the awareness with pest control, right, it's a lot of work on our own end, right? But we need to also make sure that this information get to the pest control operators and get to homeowners, then get to regulatory bodies. Those are our three major targets on the pest experience show: the regulatory bodies, the pest control operators, and homeowners. If these three people can get the right information, the right techniques, the right equipment, and understand what is needed to get all this pest control job well done, oh Lord, the solutions that we are looking for we would definitely get it. And that's exactly something that Dr. Olatunji just said. He said adequate training on integrated pest management. You know, when I started with the fact that somebody said he doesn't understand me when I was telling him pest control, pest control, pest control, but he understood the word fumigation. But there is a big difference between pest control and fumigation. A big difference. And the difference is this: fumigation means that you are using fumigant. And fumigants in the sense that you're using like aluminum phosphide, you're using zinc phosphide to get rid of pests. And those things are used, or they are used at they are used in places where needs to be covered. You know, the tenting needs to be done in that facility first before you can think of fumigation or fumigating the place. So these are the things that needs to be critically looked into talking about fumigation. We are talking about pest control. It's a purview. That's where you have sanitation. That's what we talk about integrated pest management. Now talk about sanitation, exclusion practice, blocking all the entry and exit points. You know, so those are the things that needs to be reanalyzed. Okay, so I also made mention of the fact that Dr. also made mention of the fact that lack of adequate training on integrated pest management. You know, I'm going to emphasize on this. You know, there's a critical. It's only pest control operators that cannot really understand what she said here or what he said here. He said lack of adequate training on integrated pest management makes the expected result not achieved. Very good point. Fantastic point. You see, if a pest control operator do not understand what it means by integrated pest management, the results you will get doesn't mean that the insecticide, or in fact, now that actually brings me into the fact that pest control they're not expected that they are not people that you will call chemicals, right? So we properly would be able to sell to the clients and be able to convince the clients to buy from you, right? So now she made mention of the points that integrated training, you know, now if you spray a particular apartment, let's say a client complains about the client is suffering from or have an issue with bed bugs, for example, meaning that you know me that I love bed bugs. You know, when she's complaining or when he is complaining about bed bug infestation, you know, and the next thing you do is carry your knapsack. I got this word directly from Elder Shumwe, Baba Shumwe. You know, when it was that this is exactly what he said at the default training last year, not this year. He said, when you get it, when they call you and you carry, next thing is to carry your knapsack and you go for the job, you're not a professional, you're a quack. In his words, that's exactly what he said. You know, that's the fact. If a Bashomoye of over 40 years experience or 32 years experience, over 30 years experience in the pest control industry can tell you that, then definitely that person is a quack. Because pest control operations goes beyond just going and spraying chemicals. It has to do with proper understanding, assessment of that facility, of that place first, and understanding the pest. So if they call you next time, what you do is, what's the pest issue? How many rooms are in the apartment? Where is the apartment located? In fact, for your own security, where is the apartment located? You understand, right? So you need to first understand the pest. Okay, bed bugs is the major problem. Okay, do we need to come for? We need to come for inspection. We need to inspect that facility. When you inspect the facility, you understand where are these pests staying, where are they breeding from. Remember, not all pests have similar treatment method. Different pests are treated differently. Let me say that again. Different pests are treated differently because they stay or they hide or they harbor or their hideout is at different locations. They feed at differently. Bed bugs feed on blood. Mosquitoes feed on blood. But where mosquitoes hide is different from where bed bug hide. Okay, so these things it needs to be properly understood. Termites, they are different type. Dry wood termites, subterranean termites. You can't see subterranean termites inside wood in your door. You would see them in you see them you see their colony underground. The only ones that you see outside is because they are mud tubes. So the way you treat termites is different from the way you treat bed bugs. If you use the same approach of digging ground, where you are meant to be spraying the bed or steaming the bed for bed bugs, there are two different ways, different techniques at the same point, right? So these things needs to be properly understood, right? I love this comment from Dr. Olatunji. Fantastic, directly from inside Radio Chat Box. She said I should advocate for training and retraining for our practitioners and technicians. So train yourself, learn as much as you can, go for seminars, go for webinars. I know things are very, very much hard, but webinars are out there free. This kind of program that we are doing now, it will be on YouTube. Go and watch, listen. You will not gain everything, but you will gain one thing, and that one thing will stay. Just that one thing like that, it will stay. So we need to properly retrain ourselves, expose ourselves to different things. So talking about how the client will perceive us, yes, it's critical, but it depends on you. I'm here to support you, and I'm here to also encourage you as special operators, as bodies. That's exactly, those are the things that needs to be reanalyzed and clearly looked into when you are talking about these things, right? So, okay, Mr. Olushola said, is it possible to get a recording? Yes, this is directly on YouTube. Immediately after the show, you would be able to watch directly on YouTube. Watch it directly. It's recorded live on YouTube and on Facebook same time, right? Before the comments came in, I was talking about how the regulatory bodies can also support these things, create awareness programs. It's not until the time where we have mosquito day, malaria day, stuff like that. Let's create awareness programs, campaigns. There was a time I did a study, and I'm much more intentional about some of the steps that I take, in the sense that I go out there, do my research first. And I did a public research about how all these commercial shops, and the research was actually carried out in Oyo State. Yes, it was carried out in Oyo State here, and in Agbo UI. For people that know Ibadan very well, the shops, I went through the shops around and I asked them, what is the major pest that affects your business? How does it affect your own business? How does these things affect the shops that you have today? How does it affect your productivity? How does it do this? What are the steps that you're taking? Right? I got to know that these people end up using DIY products. Even there was a particular canteen, there's a particular shop, she makes food, around this Ibadan area. A shop is very close to a canal. And this canal is where people would pass through, and when they God Nigerians, when they are passing through, they just carry their dustbin and throw it inside that canal. You know, that stuff alone, being the fact that a shop is just beside the canal, would repel people away from a shop, repel people away from a market. That's enough reason to even not even patronize her. You know, but how would this woman live if they don't solve all these things? So this is where the regulatory bodies come into play. Go into the cities, go into all these places. How do we make sure? You see, pest control is not about just carrying the knapsack. It's not about just going there to solve the problem. That's being reactive. What I mean by proactive step, the regulatory bodies is go into this place. Waste management organizations need to partner with environmental protection agency. Environmental protection agency with the waste managers need to work together with the pest controls for us to create, oh God, for us to create a very sustainable city or a sustainable environment. So that's why I said a shared collaborative is important to solving the problems. You see, when we have, you see, now I started with the pest control associations partnering with mental agencies. It's now to the waste management people partnering with these bodies to ensure that a campaign is carried out or a campaign or a strategy is put out there to be able to solve pest infestation. Because if sanitation is not done properly, if sanitation properly, the infection level is on the high side. It's just like a bomb that is about to blow up. Right? So when people are disposing this stuff there, you know, two a day, three a day, for in just in a week, the whole place is filled up. And when flood happens like that, that's mosquito. So your systems are intertwined with each other. When flood or rain falls, the waste waterways are no longer flowing. The gutters, the canals are no longer flowing because they are blocked. Then it becomes stagnant. Then when it becomes stagnant, being the fact that they are throwing waste into that water, they are throwing waste into the water. Then this waste contains bacterial microorganisms that would eventually decay. And when they decay, they start to form maggots. Maggots here, maggots will start forming, larvae will start forming, pupa will start forming, the mosquito will rise. Different life cycle of different pests will start to rise. They wondering, how does the pest affect my house? How does it do this? How does it do that? It's not knowing that it's starting from your sanitation. So for regulatory bodies, it's not just you. It's not just you alone. It's you, collaborative efforts with you, the pest control operators, the homeowners, the facility managers, waste management organizations out there. You're not left aside though. It's a collaborative work. You know, so much emphasis on quality knowledge, so emphasis on studying, so much emphasis on research. Oh Lord. You know, these are the major things that needs to be analyzed. So for questions that are coming in, you get the recordings. Recordings is directly on YouTube. Directly on YouTube. You can always watch it at any time. At any time you want to watch it. You can always do that at any time. Watch it on Facebook, watch it on LinkedIn, so many other things. So when we start to put all these things into play, we'll start to see how people would perceive the pest control industry. Because we are solution providers, and if you don't tell people the problem, they will not even bother themselves to get in the solution. That's another shocker. You know, they will never bother themselves to even think of getting a solution until the infection level is so much. So much. You know, like I said, there was a research by the Pest Management Alliance, you know, and the bed book, when they did it for millennials, they did the research with millennials. You can check this research at the PCT magazine. Maybe I'll drop the link on the YouTube description so you can check it out. You know, they did research with the millennials, the Gen X, and baby boomers, and they discovered that bed bugs higher calls from the millennials. compared to termites, compared to cockroach. People just even ignore roaches, except usually the American roaches. Oh no, yeah, they don't. They are not even bothered. They are not bothered. That one is like a normal thing. So they just when they see American roaches, they just carry their slippers, and that's done. So that's DIY techniques. That's DIY. But don't knowing that cockroach can trigger asthma. They don't know. It, when it becomes an infestation, they now start calling pest control operators, which should not be the case. But for pest control operators, you need to be in the minds of these people. How do you be in that minds? How are you going to be? I mean, there's one of my friends that we stayed in the same apartment a few years ago. I mean, it was last year or so. He said something. He said, "I don't pest, but when I go through your status, when I go through the messages that you send to me, I start to ask myself, hope mosquito is not biting. Hope ant is not." There was a time he called me from my room and I was like, SB, come and check this thing. Come and check. I said, what was that? It's all this tiny ant coming from underground. I just told him, yeah, I need to actually like caulk this thing and just block this entry point. And that's all. And I charged my money. And he said, the only I called you now, it's not because this is actually disturbing me, but the fact is that you are always on my face all the time. You're always dropping small tips, small messages, posting videos on your social media account, putting it out there. And I said it to him, if we don't do this quality information, you don't know that it's also a strategy for pest control operators. It's also a strategy for pest control operators for you to be a resource center, to be able to see you and call you and remember. They see bedbug, they remember SB. They see termites, they remember SB. It's not by prayer, it's by action. What are you doing out there? What are you putting out there? And for you to be able to be that resource center, you also need to be a library of resources. There's so much that I've said today, so much, library of resources. So we have people who don't want to come tonight, maybe because I didn't announce giveaway. But trust me, this is the platform where we put together to be able to, put our quality information out there to the people, support pest control operators, respect pest control operators out there. If you see any pest control operator doing a wonderful job, bro, they are trying to save your life. Respect them for that. Respect that industry. Respect the words from the people. It's not until when you see bed taking action, take action now. So these are the collaborative works that we need to put into play with ourselves and get things right. But when we get things right, it makes the results much more achievable. It makes what we're doing much more reasonable. Right? Okay, so I mean, it's been a wonderful time. There's so much that we need to put into consideration when we change people's perspective about and people's view about the pest control. It's your work. It's your role. It's what are you putting out there that people will be able to. What are you doing that people will go and say, these guys are trying. This is an industry I want to put myself into. It's an industry that I want to be part of. It's an industry that I want to walk into. Right? So when we do all these things, when we do all this into consideration, put them into consideration, then you start to see that people will start to perceive you differently. People will start to see us differently. Okay? Encouraging every pest control operator, the regulatory bodies, the facility managers out there. It's a collaborative work. Work with us so that we can work with you. Work with pest control operators. We can work together to save you, protect you, give you that environment, that peaceful environment, pest-free environment, wonderful environment, a place, a workspace without pest. And I use this opportunity to celebrate every woman out there. Because even as a man, there's a whole lot. Women are putting all their effort out there. Every woman out there, congratulations. Wonderful work. I celebrate you. The regulatory bodies, I celebrate you. I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. I keep up the good work. Keep up the good work. And you have products, you have services, you have amazing stuff that you want to sell to the people, that you want to pull out there. Get in touch with us at Inside Radio and let's help you increase the visibility. Let's help you pull out the marketing strategies. Let's help you build up that brand. This is the best one to reach the pest control operators, homeowners, facility managers. If you have amazing products or services, this is a platform for you to be able to advertise, re-strategize, and let's help you do all your marketing in one right on the radio station. This is the Pest Experience Show, and I'm your host, Shofu Babalola Theophilus, and also to the pest control operators, control associations, support platforms like this. Support platforms like this, regulatory bodies support platforms like this, so we can emphasize, so we can also put in more effort in collaborating, in ensuring that there is a safe and a sustainable environment. Do have a wonderful night rest. I see you on the next episode, next 7 to 8 p.m. West African time, depending on 7 to 8 p.m. West African time. Please stay tuned, and if you're watching on YouTube, please click on the subscribe button. Subscribe now, because we have amazing other shows that will be coming in on Inside Radio. Do have a wonderful night rest. Thank you. Peace.
This is the Pest Experience Show.